All right, Bobby, I'm turning it back over to you.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Bobby Spiegel. I'm the president and CEO for the Corona Chamber. I'm so excited to be able to host and kind of manage this meeting a little bit. And I'm going to fib a little bit because I don't manage any of it. What manages is the opportunity of Stephanie Shapiro behind the scenes working all the buttons and making this happen. Our Coffee with the Entrepreneur is a monthly event, and each month we select a different entrepreneur to kind of share their stories, their ups and downs, their little nuggets of success, and better understanding for people that are either looking to move up in the chain of their business or to actually open up their business. I know that oftentimes it's lonely at the top, and this is an opportunity for you to be able to hear from some of the best of the best. But before we have our keynote entrepreneur on, I just want to share with you that this program is co-sponsored and is available for free to everyone to attend because of the generous partnership that we have with the city of Corona. And we've had a long-standing positive relationship with the city because we work hand in hand to bring in business and show opportunity for people to succeed in this community of Corona. What I would like to do now is introduce our business partner who represents our side of the equation in the partnership for us, and that is Jessica Gonzales. Jessica is the Economic Development Director for the City of Corona, and she's just going to share a couple of words. Please welcome Jessica.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This is one of my favorite monthly events. I look forward to the Coffee with an Entrepreneur because it's just a great start to the week. And, I want to just, before we turn it over to Dean, just share with you a few characteristics of an entrepreneur. So if we were to look up quickly, what is an entrepreneur? What are the traits? Number one on the list you're going to find is risk taker. They are risk takers. They're visionary. They are folks that are adaptable, flexible, perceptive, team players. And so I want you to reflect on this, especially as Dean is going to share with us his journey, because this is why this is one of my favorite events, because entrepreneurs here in Corona embody all of those traits and more. They are motivating the rest of aspiring entrepreneurs. They're an inspiration to the business community. And so it's such a great opportunity to be able to glean from their experience. So this is a fantastic event that we put forth through this partnership with the Chamber. In that same vein, I want to share with you that coming up on November 17th, we are having in Spanish. So if you know someone, Spanish speakers that would benefit from this, we're having a Spanish webinar. And it's going to be strategies for business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs. November 17th from 5 to 7 p.m. The information did go out in our newsletter last week. If you don't receive our newsletter, please subscribe at teamcorona.com. But I do encourage you to invite those that would benefit. This is both for the current business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs. They will be gleaning insights from 3 dynamic speakers from the Small Business Administration, SCORE Business Counselors, and the Association of Entrepreneurs. Once again, November 17th, 5 to 7. But now I want to turn it back over to Dean. Thank you in advance for taking this time to inspire our business community, and just thank you for your commitment for investing in Corona.
Thank you, Jessica. But before we get right to Dean, I have to do a couple of shameless plugs for our events, and then I'll bring Dean on real quick. But I did want to just reiterate what Jessica has stated. She is really working diligently on programs and seminars with the Chamber and the business community to make sure that we can kind of fill in any gaps, during this whole situation with the China virus and the COVID-19 of what's going on. There's been a little disruption of business for some people. Other businesses are thriving. We want to make sure that we're a resource for all of them, and Jessica is available to assist you as well as the Chamber. This next Wednesday, 2 days from now on November 11th, we're going to be doing an election update on the local elections as well as statewide propositions. So please register. That will be on the bit.ly that is on the slide right now. The next slide that I want to just touch on is the November 18th slide. That will be for the following week for the weekly Corona Chamber business briefing. Each one is needs to be registered, but if you would like to receive an automated registration, just let Stephanie know here at the Chamber and we can take care of that. And before we bring Dean up, I think the most exciting thing that I want to share is our annual salute to the military. We so appreciate the freedoms that we have here in the United States, and right here locally, what we do every single year is that we dedicate a breakfast for veterans. And this is where I'm going to outreach to all of you and just ask that if you know of anyone that has served in the military or is currently serving, to please have them go on and register. It is a free meal for them. If you would like to help us in being able to provide more free meals for these guys, simply go on. There's some opportunities there, but this will be this coming Friday, November 13th, socially distanced at the IHOP restaurant in Corona, as well as virtually. And we would love to welcome as many veterans as possible. We'd love to see your smiling faces. And again, we'll be giving out masks and doing all of the different regulations that the CDC is suggesting. So that'll be Friday, November 13th, but we do need to have today as a deadline for registration. So please get that out to as many people as possible. So with that, I did want to make sure that everyone uses the chat box down below. If you have a question, especially for Dean, now we'll open it up later on, but if there's something that we need to cover, you can do the chat, and that will be, of course, it'll indicate who to chat to. It's the very first one on the, or the second one on your screen when you pull down the chat box. So at this time, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce a gentleman that I've come to know and appreciate so much. He's a leader in the business community. He is a mentor to me and to many, and he's a dear friend. He has a tremendous story, and typically I would give that background when I'm introducing a speaker, but today the whole topic of what he's going to share is all about him. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our invited entrepreneur, the Citizen of the Year for the Corona Chamber and the City of Corona, Mr. Dean Seif.
Thank you, Bobby, and thank you everyone for attending. And it is absolutely an honor for me to be here and share the story of my life and my business life with you. And I'm really excited about it. I don't know why I'm nervous, because it took so long and I have 2 cups of coffee. So, but I'll be okay. Just to stay on time and on the point, I have a PowerPoint presentation that I'd like to share. And then if you have any questions, either now or during the presentation, please go ahead and ask. I'm monitoring the chat room also. So let me share. There. Share. There. So a few things that I wanted to touch upon. One is my story. Obviously, that's probably of some interest. And then my professional experience, and then what I have learned, lessons that I have learned throughout my life. And then looking back, what really matters. These are things that matter to me, and but obviously to many of you, since many of you are entrepreneurs. I was born and raised in Iran, and you're looking at my father and my mom. My father worked for the government. He was a border guard, and then came back. When we moved to Tehran, he worked for the Treasury Department. And that's me on the left bottom, probably about 6, 7 years old. And then as I grew up in Tehran, went to school, and 1 year of college before I decided that it wasn't for me. So this is Tehran of the old days, pretty thriving city, and very interesting place to visit, beautiful place. Went to college for 1 year, but that coincided with President Nixon coming to Iran, and protests started. Then I realized my 4-year degree might take me 8 to 10 years to finish. And when I took the SAT to get into college, I had applied also for pilot flight engineers scholarship at Iran Air. And when this happened, I realized maybe I should take advantage of that. And so I did, and that brought me to the States. Went to a school called Northrop University, and in their A&P, Airframe and Power Plant Technicians program. It was a 2-year program, and taught you how airplanes work and how they're constructed, and then we were able to basically dismantle an airplane and put it together. So after that, I also took up flying and got my pilot's license, and kind of started liking the life in the US, and bought my first car, a Firebird, 1969 Firebird. Many of you are drooling probably looking at that picture. And then, you know, my bandit here picture, and then the beach life and the Yosemite, and it was great until I met this this beautiful girl, and we started dating, and then for about 10 months, a year, and it became serious. But then school was over, and I had to say goodbye and go back home, and to start my ground school in Iran. And about 3 weeks later, I realized, you know, I couldn't just meet the right person in my life and leave her behind. So I came back, and 3 weeks later, and proposed to her and married her the same week. And we decided to go back and live in Iran. And everything was fine. I was a flight engineer on Boeing 727 and Airbus, and we got to travel quite a bit, Shannon and I. And these are some of the pictures of my flying days. But things didn't stay calm. All of a sudden, we had whispers and winds of revolution, and statues taken down, protests, and the Shah, the king of Iran, left, and the new regime came to power. And that was probably a 2-3 year process. But I was still flying at that time, and we had a decent life. Businesses and residences were not targeted. You just either protested or you didn't protest. And so the new regime came to power, and we all know what happened after that. The American embassy in Iran was taken over, and we were there. We lived just probably a couple of miles away from the embassy. And so we used to walk on that street, and Shannon was kind of, everyone was interested in Shannon's opinion about the takeover of the embassy. So embassy was taken over, hostages, and then the next thing that happened was the war with Iraq started, and this was a long-lasting war. It lasted about 8 years and killed about 1 million people on each side. Very sad. I have quite a few family members, and in fact, my real mother got killed at the end of the war, and but the war was very sad, and I have a lot of cousins and uncles and so on who were also victims of this war and got killed. So we realized when the war started that there was really no hope for a good future, and better to raise our kids, our family somewhere else. So we decided to move to the US and start a whole new life here. So I went back to college, got my degree in aerospace engineering, and then later on my master's degree. And this is our family. So we started with this one on the top left, Layla, our daughter, and then we had our son Daryush, and then our youngest daughter Shirin later on was born. Great family. I love my kids. I love my family. I love my wife, and it's just been an absolute blessing. Then the kids grew up, involved in different things. They all got married. We have a granddaughter from each of the kids, and then my youngest one has given us a grandson also. The kids went to college. They all are very, very successful. My daughter up there in the middle of the picture at the top, she's a very highly sought cosmetics marketing leader in the industry. They have several companies that they manage, she and her husband. My son on the right got his PhD at UCLA and postdoctorate in Germany, and he now works for the US Patent Office. He is a patent examiner. And then Shirin, the youngest one at the bottom, she's an attorney up in the Bay Area. So they're very successful. We don't have to leave them any kind of inheritance. So I'll probably donate that to the chamber body. So my background, professional background starts with Iran National Airlines, and that was from 1974 when I was hired until end of 1980 when we left Iran. And then the next job was at Northrop Corporation, quality control on the F-18 program. And then after that, I went to Xerox. I was there for 11 years, and that's when I went back to college and got my degree and moved up to the engineering level and then management level. And then after I was laid off at Xerox because they were downsizing. I started a consulting company that was called Advanced Quality Solutions. It was quality and training for manufacturers. And I did that until one of the companies I worked for wanted me to be a full-time employee of theirs. So I was the quality systems director for a company called Omnichrome. And after that, they sold to a company in San Diego, and so they closed. And I moved to Allied Signal, the next aerospace corporation, and I was the quality systems director for a site of about 2,500 employees. And they also merged with, I believe, Honeywell. And so I went to, got a job as the quality director at Techstar Corporation, another aerospace company in the business of satellites and solar wings. While I was at Techstar, I was also teaching at a couple of colleges, Cal State Los Angeles, DeVry University, and our local college, RCC, at the time. And teaching topics like statistics, engineering topics, chemistry, math, computer science, and so on. And did that till around 2002 when I opened a real estate business of our own called the Safe Real Estate Group that we still have, that Shannon manages and runs. And then it was too much to just fit teaching in it. So fully real estate business until I purchased at some point a company called All-Star Collision. All-Star Collision was a small mom and pop business, about $1 million a year at its best. And I purchased that in 2005, and we still have it. And that company has, over the years, grown to about $3 million now. And we are at the new location, which is really adjacent to the previous location. And I had to learn the business, and I realized that insurance accounts are really the best source for to grow the business. So we have about 22 different insurance companies. Mainly the big ones are State Farm, Progressive, Infinity, Amica, Lynx, and several top insurance companies. This year, 2020, was supposed to be our record year because we started very strong with State Farm and Progressive. Unfortunately, COVID hit us at the end of April, and our revenues dropped. But I'm very hopeful that we'll come back up as of January 1st. We've come back up quite a bit, not fully to pre-COVID, but probably about 80% today. So that's my business background. Areas that obviously we improved at All-Star Collision are going from a mom and pop shop to a corporation. You need systems and a business structure. You need to have a system in place so that if I'm not there, which happens to be quite often, that the system runs itself and everyone knows their job descriptions, everyone knows what they're supposed to do, and things don't fall behind or apart because I'm not there. There's a heavy focus on customer service, and I'll talk a little more about that, why customers are important. And then quality of the product is obviously very important. You know, we have a person or family in a car traveling at 55, 65, 85 miles an hour, and the repairs and the quality of those repairs have to be as good as the manufacturer of the car. Training and technical certifications are huge with me because you know, in my career I've always been trained, and I've total belief in having a technical staff that's fully certified and trained. We are OEM, which is a manufacturer certification for several auto manufacturers. And then our focuses throughout these years have been on growth and also profitability. I don't see the chat room on my screen, so if there's any questions, maybe Stephanie, if you can read it, ask me and I'll answer.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll let you go through everything that you've got, and then we'll jump back to questions. Okay, Dean?
Okay.
Thank you.
So lessons learned on the business side is that the foundation of a strong business, to me, it's our employees. You have to look for the best employees you can get, pay them the competitive rate that they demand, and hire them, because your number one resource in any business is your employees. Processes, you have to have processes. You have to have a system and a structure, like I said earlier, that people can follow, that if someone leaves, things don't fall apart. Someone can just come in and fit into the structure and continue to work. Tools, because I'm an engineer, tools mean a lot to me. The right tools mean a lot. And those are the things we need to do our jobs right. And then products, that's the product that we produce. We are basically a manufacturer. We remanufacture a car that's been in a collision, has to be taken apart, and we have to figure out what goes where. So we are linked with manufacturers and manufacturing processes to fix those cars the right way. And then what is our value to our customers? Because customers are who pays our bills, and without customers, we have no business. One thing I've realized is that no one cares about my business more than I do. So I can't expect someone else to care about my business more than I do. And the few times that I thought someone cared more is where I failed. And so if I have to stay there till 11 o'clock to finish a job, to make sure something is done right, if I have to go there on a Saturday or a Sunday or 3 in the morning because the alarm didn't work or the server didn't come back up, I have to do it. Otherwise, the business, I'm not worth the business. I'm not worthy of owning that business. The other lesson is that my business reflects my values. If I don't take things serious, then my business doesn't take things serious. So in line with that, my employees must share my business values. And because if I'm not there, a customer cannot be treated differently. Product quality cannot change because I'm not there. And so we have to have an open environment where people can discuss. There's no fear of reporting things, and there's no issues with correcting things immediately. And that's really one key, because I believe that everyone in my company should share my values. And it does take time, because you will come across people in your organization that don't, and so they have to be dealt with. You have to work with them so that they understand your values. Customers are why we are in business, and that's really self-explanatory. Without customers, I'm not in business. I cannot, just because it's me and I have a building and tools and employees, doesn't mean people are gonna swarm to me. I have to have customers. And then another important thing is that selling and customer service is the job of everyone. Everyone in the organization must sell. Everyone in the organization must provide customer service. So when I say this, I envision a circle where the customer is in the middle, and the circle is my employees, me, the guy who washes the car, the guy who details it, the guy who repairs it, the guy who paints it, and the guy who writes the estimate. You are encircled by me and my employees. Another lesson is that people, and they've done surveys on this, pay is a motivator, but really the biggest motivator is knowing that you are valued and respected in an organization. So I have learned over the years to acknowledge and reward good behavior, and I have to do that immediately. I can't let it sit there and forget about it. I have to acknowledge that, and usually for good behavior, I want to acknowledge that in front of other people, so that they know what good behavior means. And then you also have to correct improper behavior ASAP. And that's usually done in private, so that you stay away from embarrassing anyone. Failures and rejections will happen. We all, we're humans, and obviously, and we make mistakes, and things happen that are outside of our goals and visions, but they will happen. But I look at them as opportunities that make us shine, because we took care of something that obviously was our fault or someone else's fault, someone in the organization, but we shine and we achieve higher levels. Those are truly opportunities for us to make a difference in our business. And sometimes they are really, really good to have. every organization should benchmark its service to the best in its industry. And I've learned that by working at Xerox, at working at Allied Signal. I've learned that we have to benchmark ourselves. At Xerox, we benchmarked our shipping to LL Beans and how they were able to package and ship overnight without any kind of hiccup. Today, you have Amazon. I mean, they deliver on a Sunday. They deliver within a few hours after you place an order. So any part of our organization should really be benchmarked against the best in that industry. Customer service against the customer service of one of the, of the best industries. And so that has a lot to do with continuously learning and improving ourselves and our businesses. And I am a firm believer in constantly improving yourself, improving ourselves, and learning and growing. And in line with that, we have always seek the advice of the professionals. It's been my practice from day one. I mean, when I left Iran to come to the US to go to aerospace school, the first one I spoke with was my college professor about whether there was any hope or not. And he's the one who encouraged me, said, Dean, if you have that opportunity, take it. There's no hope here. And that was my college professor, and it was the best advice I've received. So professionals are people who have done it or know how to do it, and rather than reinvent the wheel, we can take their advice and take a shortcut to success. And lastly here is, if you have a business that's supporting your lifestyle, then your business must pay you or compensate you properly for your time and effort. The reason is that if it's not, and you're suffering, the house payment's late, you can't drive a decent car or anything, or you don't even have a car, you can't afford a car, then that business is really, you're wasting your time and effort. Now, I understand in the beginning, you have to sacrifice to get there. But if you've been running your business for a long time and that business isn't really supporting you, then, it's not right, and that business must support you. So I'm the first one to put myself back on payroll. Obviously, I was off payroll till about 2010. For 5 years, I wasn't on payroll because I needed the company to prosper, to continue to grow before I decided, okay, it's time to put myself on the payroll. And today, I'm still on the payroll, and I will not take myself off. Lessons that I've learned personally and from business and my relationships throughout the years is that my network is not my net worth. The amount of money I have, the amount of success I have achieved or not achieved, doesn't really amount to anything. It's the network I have. It's the people that I know. It's the relationships that I have with folks. I can pick up the phone and call someone and get something done that otherwise I would have to waste a lot of time getting it done. People do the same thing with me. So those relationships always are important. So honor and nurture and cherish people's trust in you. I have learned to do that because trust to me is like a bank account where you have to keep depositing money in it before you can write the first check. And usually you have to deposit more than you can withdraw. So trust is a very important thing. And it's something that I will not mess with because to lose trust and regain it is a tough one. You could you could never recover from it sometimes. And the next thing is that my reputation extends to my business. So I need my business to, obviously, like I said before, align with my values. Because if I am saying something and my business is doing something different, there's a problem there and I need to take care of that. So that's where the training and sharing my values with my employees is super important. If you come to my office, on the board where only I can see it, I have a saying that I have summarized it here, is that convert customers to friends and advocates. And I am a firm believer that you should make friends with everyone you meet, because it'll make our world smaller and people will remember you and you'll remember them. It makes it a kinder and gentler world. And then I also firmly believe that a business has social responsibilities. And that depends on the size of the business or what you can do, what your time allows. And I've learned that I need to do my part in meeting those responsibilities. How goals and visions are important for an organization. And my way of approaching it is I kind of take a quiet, go to a quiet space and think about the future and where we want the organization or myself or my family to be. And then in my mind, create a roadmap to get there. So roadmaps to success are my action plans, and then set up goals, and then daily actions and steps are key in achieving your goals. You can't just, if you were going backpacking, which I have in the past, I don't just put a backpack on and hope that everything will go well. I probably plan it for the 2 weeks prior, make a list of things I need, what for what day, what's for breakfast, what's for lunch, what items I want to take. So even for a small things like a backpacking or even a day trip, we plan, but unfortunately, many of us don't have a plan for our own lives and don't have any plans for our businesses. And that's sad. I do have a plan. It is written down. I have set up goals that are written down, and those keep me focused on my daily actions and my activities. And then one thing to realize here is that for everything, it takes time to produce results. So I must be patient. I was telling a story 2 weeks ago at our 15th year anniversary that for years I was ready to just sell the business because it was just hard. It was like raising a kid. At some point, you want to just give it away, let someone else raise it. But I was told by my circle of friends to be patient, to give it time, to focus on it, and to make it work. And I did. So we have to be patient for results. Sometimes it takes time to get to results. And it takes me to the next point, in that everything in life has a price. So if you're willing to pay the price, you will get it. And so I get what I paid for. If I'm not happy with it, maybe I didn't pay the large enough price for it. And then every risk has a value in terms of gain or loss. This is really important. And when I have to make critical decisions, I sit down and evaluate the risk or the gain or the loss. And if I'm comfortable with the loss, then I move forward with the risk. I take the risk. And you will be amazed what big decisions you can make by evaluating the loss, because we're all afraid of losing. That's why we don't play the game, or we don't go for big things. But once you evaluate it, you realize, okay, well, if I do this and if I lose, this is how much I'm going to lose, and I'm still myself. I still have my family. And then you're okay with that loss, or you may not be. Maybe the loss is too much to take, to accept. So, but it helps your decision-making process. And another thing is, my current situation is the result of the paths and shortcuts I have taken in my life. This is really, really important to me. Looking back, seeing where I took a shortcut because I didn't want to do the hard stuff, and how it affects me today, and where I put up with hard times and actually went through the difficult times, and how that's paying off today. So this is really an important statement here for me. And in line with that is, strive for greatness and don't settle for mediocrity. Striving for greatness, sometimes the effort it takes to go for greatness is as much as the pain and suffering we have for putting up with the mediocrity. It's just that it's like the gain or loss. It's the same thing. If you wished you could have done something, you're sitting there and suffering why you didn't do it. But if you had done it, that pain would be removed, and you could have been at a different stage in your life or in your business process. So settling for mediocrity is something that I have a hard time with. And do I make mistakes and take the wrong path? Yes, but I always look, just as a habit, for what is great, if I'm willing to pay the price, or can I at least try it. And as you listen to my life story, change has been ingrained in me. So I get excited about change. I remember when we were laid off. Actually, my whole department was closed at Xerox. And we were put through a training to go out there and look for other jobs. Many in my class were crying and upset because they had worked for Xerox for 25, 30 years, and that's all they knew. But I was the only excited person in that class, because I said, look, if I worked at Xerox for 11 years, they didn't hire me because they liked me. I had some value. I just have to determine what that value was, what my talents are, and just do that. I was excited because finally I could do something on my own, and that's when I opened Advanced Quality Solutions, and it took off. It took off within just 2 months after leaving Xerox, and was very successful. So I truly get excited about change. It is uncomfortable as you get older, because you like what you have, you like the comfort, but don't be comfortable with the status quo. A key thing in my life has always been friends and business associates. And I've learned over the years that when I change my friends and business associates, it changes me, it changes my life, and it changes my business. I'm sure most of you have experienced this, but it is so important, and it has been so important in my life when I look back. And then finally, what really matters. Obviously, my family is of utmost importance to me. And and I value my friendships. I will do everything I can, anything I can for my friends, and their love and their well-being is absolutely important to me. We have a tendency, obviously, to become arrogant sometimes and think, "Look at me." And I had a college professor who, my philosophy professor, said, "There's a center to the universe, and you ain't it." I always read this to myself in my mind, that I'm not the center of the universe. There is a center, and I'm not it. And that makes me stay humble and not let anything go to my head and become arrogant. It's really, really important. And then this is my absolute belief that everything we have is a gift from God. It's nothing that I created. I was given the opportunity for a family. I was given an opportunity to have, 3 angels as kids, and I was given an opportunity to have a business, to live in this great nation, and I cherish that, and I'm always grateful for it. And because a grateful person is a happy person. Nothing is promised to me, and so I'm happy with what I have. And when I'm grateful, I'm happy. And lastly is that do your portion of good on this earth. When we die, on no one's gravestone do they write how much money he had, how much property he owned. But they write, maybe he had many friends. They talk about good things in life and not what you owned, or how what process you developed, or how you did a certain thing. It's about how many friends you have, and we've seen that over the years as our friends have passed. Just the admiration for their love for the community, for their friends, for their family, is really all people talk about. And that's my presentation. So if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
So Dean, thank you so much, and what a great job. And for all of you, you will be getting a recording, so all the slides that were up, you'll be able to have those to refer back to. And Stephanie is collecting all the questions right now. So if you can give any questions to Stephanie, she's under the chamber host. If you'll go ahead, the Corona Chamber host, you can go ahead and type in your questions, and then she'll read through them and Dean will answer those. Dean, I did want to also acknowledge and just a big praise to you and Shannon on your anniversary this last year. You again, anniversary for the business being open. It wasn't a focus on you, it was a focus on giving back, and you gave a car to this family that was pretty much homeless. And this is just the contributions that you continually do. I know that you helped the Chamber Foundation and gave a car away a couple of years back, and this is just a tribute to what you do. I don't think you know the word no when people come and ask for a donation or for assistance. You're always willing to jump in there and give, and that's a big part of what you do. And I just wanted to publicly again say and praise to you and to Shannon for being such good stewards and sharing your wealth with others. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let Stephanie please go ahead and start with the questions. And I would suggest we do one at a time. You answer them, and then Stephanie will continue. Stephanie, go ahead.
Thank you. First question, you had mentioned previously seeking the advice of professionals in your career and how you had sought your professor for some advice. Who's your mentor today? And secondarily, how would you suggest somebody else go about finding their mentor?
I've had paid mentors. When I got into real estate, for example, I hired Mike Ferry. Many of you who know real estate know Mike Ferry was the best coach at the time. And it was pretty expensive. I paid $1,000 a month just to do the right things. But I figured that if it helps me to improve my sales and takes me to the next level, it's well worth it. And it was well worth it because we did very well in real estate. And there are coaches available, but seriously, you have some leaders in this community, and many of them are on this call, who can help you. I mean, look at Eugene. I was talking to him at a Good Morning Corona about commercial property and so on. I immediately texted me after we left the meeting the person's name at a bank where and before I had a chance to call, the guy called me, and we're now in a business deal together. So you have many of those people on this call, and so you don't always have to pay, but you have people who have different experiences in different fields that you can take advantage of. It's just surround yourself with professionals and help. Mike Ryan has helped our business with healthcare and my retirement stuff, and so just Bobby has been a great mentor to me. I mean, Bobby's I can't say enough, and I know many of you can't. Gosh, quite a few of you here. I don't want to name names because then I have to name all of you, but really many of you on this, I see you on the screen, have been my mentors. You don't have to pay. Yes.
Thank you. Next question. You talked about how important it is for your employees to hold the same values as you do. How do you determine that when you're evaluating potential employees?
Background check, resume, but that doesn't always tell you the story. I've hired people who were high caliber people, and I've ended up firing them just a few months down the road because their resume also made them arrogant. And when I saw their approach with employees, meeting customers and so on, it was very tough, and I ended up firing them. But I think orientation training, sharing with them your values, and having them give you examples of occasions where that are important to you. For example, if you had a dissatisfied customer because you made a mistake, how was your approach in taking care of that? So let them give you examples, and you won't always find the right person the first time around, but do your homework, and you can. Today I have probably, after 15 years, finally, I have a great team working at the business. But it's like driving on a freeway. You can't always take your hands off the steering wheel. You know, you still have to, even on a self-driving car, you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel because as soon as you take it out, the car starts swerving and you're off the lane. So you always have to keep your eyes on your goals, on your business, and do the best you can.
Great, thank you. Dean, what advice would you give someone who's wanting to start their own business? Some words of wisdom.
Well, you have to kind of have an idea of what you like to do, what you don't like to do. And then make a list of your strengths and your weaknesses. You have to know yourself. You have to know what you're good at, what you're not good at. And you know, you hear that when people do the things they like, money comes naturally and finances come naturally. So that's important. You know, but going back to that, really list your assets, at any given time, you should know yourself. You should know your strengths, your weaknesses, your assets, your friends, where you can get things from, and what you need to do. And then remember, risks and in risks you take and what they'll gain you, and then the loss evaluation. You need to know that. And if you're comfortable with that and there's something that you like to do, go forward, because time will pass. And this is how I look at things. Let's say it takes 4 years to go to college. Okay, 10 years will pass and you could have been a doctor, but you didn't take those 4 years to go to school because it was just 4 years and you didn't want to pay that price. Well, 10 years has passed and you sit up there at 10 years looking down. You could have finished it 6 years earlier. So take the pain and do it. At least move forward. And if you realize it's not for you, then at least you've done something about it.
How did you manage going 5 years without drawing on a salary from your business?
We had our successful real estate business that I was very much involved in until about 2012, 2013. And it was successful because of the relationships that we had built. When we took a nosedive, real estate took a nosedive in 2008. We were obviously slow for a few months, and then because of those relationships, we were able to get the countrywide and B of A accounts that just fed us a lot of bank-owned properties and just elevated us to top 2, top 3 in the region, and that's why we were successful. I can't put enough emphasis on having good relationships with people. Obviously, like I said, it's like a bank account. You need to feed it first before you withdraw, and don't think about withdrawing. You always have to give before you take.
Wow, I'm going to skip a few questions to go to one that this really relates to. So you're basically working 2 full-time jobs, building 2 businesses. And one person had asked, one second, they said you're an Energizer bunny, always showing up, like with flag deliveries late at night, for example. What's your secret?
Really, my business made me more agile. And I have to give you an example here. When I got involved with the chamber, which is probably about 13, 14 years ago, and I chaired the ambassadors, and we had a networking group. Trying to break away from my business to just go do the small things like CNS was a hectic job because I was focused and I was doing things. But today I've learned, and that's why I mentioned that you grow. You have to make yourself grow. Today I'm involved in my business, not the real estate anymore. Shannon does a bang up job there. But some of you know I'm involved in other organizations. I'm involved with United Way, with Corona Regional Medical Center. I'm on the board of the chamber, and then I chair the foundation. And I run my business too. I've really learned to do multitask, and rather than compartmentalize, I now look at it as a big job. Part of that is the social responsibility, and part of that is managing employees, giving them leadership, visions and goals, and then buying equipment and taking care of the computers at work. So it's just one big task, and if you manage your time right, you can do it.
So how do you know when to stop working, when to say the day is done and that it's time to go home or not to work at home?
I make a list, a daily list of things that I need to do. So I have must do, should do, and it would be nice if I could create time to do these. And when I finish and that just makes it so effective for me. When I finish the things that I must do, and then I'm okay. I want to go home and rest and you know, be at home with my family. I'm okay with that. If I have to go to work on a Saturday, I don't resent it. I just go do it and come back.
Dean, are you at the point now, or are you looking in the future to expand to additional locations?
Yes, I had plans a few years ago, but you know, money was tight and things have happened over the years. And then this year, obviously, with COVID-19, you know, just staying in business was more important than expansion. So I'm okay with that. I am looking at expanding at some point. And I have saved money to do that in the past, but unfortunately, the economy took a nosedive, or we suffered a loss or something that ended up using that money. But I'm looking at expanding, yes.
Wonderful. Can you share with us a past failure or mistake that taught you the most to eventually lead you to success?
I've never failed in my life. No, I'm joking. Past failure. I can't think of a good example, but really, rather than feel sorry, I have a good example, but I can't share it, unfortunately. But I'll tell you, it was a failure that was heartbreaking for me, and so I was miserable for a period of time, I guess, self-pity and so on, and then I realized that my job is, so then I started evaluating myself and thinking that my job isn't to be miserable and self-pity. My job is the captain of this ship, and I have to rise up. I have to go take the controls, and I have to find a way to get us out of these tumultuous waters and take us to the other side. If I can't do that, I shouldn't be in leadership. I have to be able to rise up against all failures and adversity and think straight. And this obviously it's training from my flying days, where everything is burning and the airplane is nosediving, and you have to kind of forget that and think about solving the problem, what's going on. And that training was very effective for me, so it's helped me quite a bit in that. So you have to rise up. If you're a leader, then people are looking at you for direction, and you have to forget your miseries, your failures, and think about a way out.
Thank you, Dean. This question has some background information to it. I have a long-standing career in the fashion industry as a designer. I'm getting ready to launch a platform that has important conversations to shift mindset, but also show people how to pivot and level up their skills or start their own business. Her question is, what advice do you have on how to focus her path to do this and make sure she is helping her community by having the appropriate guests on, not just in her industry?
My way, my approach would be just write it down. I mean, it could be in your mind, but then you get busy and you forget the details. So take a couple hours, sit there and make a list of all of the fuzzy stuff in your mind, and then gradually solidify those, give them priority, and move forward. You know how to do it. If you're in that business, you know exactly how to do it. but you have to kind of get your mind to focus on the important stuff. So my approach to when I encounter something like that is just take a big piece of paper and write everything on it, everything that I can think of, and then give those priorities, consolidate, and then come up with a plan. And that's my approach to that. And obviously, like I said, circle of experts, circle of friends that you have in different areas of a business that can help you.
Thank you. This person says, thank you for this tremendous presentation. I learned so much. What are some of your life and business goals?
My, I'm reaching a stage in life where I'm questioning, should I expand? What's the money for? What's the success for? But the challenge there is that, I don't want to give up this early in my life either. So my goal is to continue, like I said earlier, to grow the business, to maybe open other locations, and then eventually get someone either have an exit. My exit strategy is to sell it to someone and then be working at the business until they're comfortable, and then gradually go into retirement or take more vacations. I love going places, and I love to do things with my wife and family.
Wonderful. Next question. Just one second. When did you join the chamber, and what made you decide to join? How has it benefited your business?
I joined the chamber in 2005 as soon as I opened my doors. Remember, if the fact that you have a business and you have a building and you're qualified to do so really doesn't mean anything. People have to know you. People have to know that you're there. And chamber has been just really the best. And I know Bobby's here, and I'm a member of the chamber and also on the board, but truly the chamber has been probably the most effective and tool that I've been able to use. Obviously, early on, I was a member of the chamber because I wanted to advertise. I wanted more people to find out about my business and deal with me. But today it's a different story. I'm at a different level with my membership and my involvement with the chamber. But more people need to know what you do and where you are. The fact that you're licensed, that happened with my real estate business. Many people get their real estate licenses and think, okay, now business comes to you. Well, no one knows you got a license. And so you have to go door knock, you have to go meet people, shake people's hands. And so that's where I learned that I need to carry a bunch of business cards in my pocket and meet 5 new people every day and take their information down. And I had grown my circle of influence within a few months to a large number of people who knew me because I called them, who knew me by my first name. And I mean, organizations like the chamber is a great organization because we have the Good Morning Corona this week, and we typically have about 100 people that you may not have met, and that's a good place to promote your business, exchange business cards. Rotary is another great one. Many of these networking organizations are excellent tools to promote your business.
Thank you, Dean. That concludes the questions that were asked in the chat and on Facebook, but I do encourage you to go through and read the chat. There's a lot of really nice comments there for you. We definitely appreciate having you on today. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Bobby to close out the meeting.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you to Dean. And again, is there any surprise that he would be our Citizen of the Year, a real example of a true leader? Very, very exciting. So thank you again, Dean. I did want to mention that there are some people on here, but that may not be members yet of the chamber. And we would encourage for you to be considered to connect with Robert Yanez. You can refer a neighboring business, someone that you do business with that is not currently a member. We would definitely appreciate if you could get a hold of Robert so he can introduce all the concepts and the ideas, the benefits and features that we have for people that are chamber members for the Corona Chamber. The next item is our social media slide that we want to just plug in and have you, whichever media you use, maybe all of them, please note that this is how we continue to keep people updated. Get tips on how to maximize your member benefits and to get to know your fellow members through Instagram, watch a video, or event recaps. We also have Twitter and LinkedIn. So we say that we have those. I know our chamber has them. I'm working on getting social. It's a digital age and it's time for this old man to learn some more things. So we'll move on to the next slide. The Coffee with the Entrepreneur is we're so excited to have Chantel Blash that will be sharing the history of what she's been doing. And she is currently in the insurance services industry, but her background and entrepreneurship of a completely different field will blow your socks and blow your socks off. Sorry. She is an amazing, upbeat individual and a great entrepreneur. So that will be on December 14th. There is the bit.ly. If you would go ahead and record on in, we would appreciate it. On behalf of the entire Chamber of Commerce staff, this is the month that we want to reflect back and give thanks to all of you, as Thanksgiving is just around the corner. But before we get into the Thanksgiving holiday, please remember Wednesday is Veterans Day as well. We have a great conference call at 10 o'clock. If you've got questions, email us or call us at the chamber. That is at 10 o'clock on Wednesday. And of course, on Friday, we will be doing our breakfast with our veterans. All of you are invited to participate. We want to go ahead and tell these veterans thank you for making sure that America remains free and for all the freedoms that they offer us every single day. With that, we just want to say thank you and happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you. If it's only one time a month, December 14th, you need to plug in. Thank you to the City of Corona for your partnership. Thank you to each and every one of you. Have a blessed day. Take care.